with the Oldham Tinkers. We haven't recorded for some time. This album coming out, and it's called A Lancashire Grace, and we're just putting it out, and we hope you like it.
And it should be suitable for everybody in the world.
Yeah, in the world, yeah. So, what do we say? Bonjour à tous.
Beautiful. How do you feel about this album? You know, putting an album out now. You know, like one like in these times, and also just being the age you are now. What does it feel like putting a record out? What are your feelings about it, if you're any? You know what I mean? Is it just something to do? Is it, you know, what? Have you got a message?
I say it won't be deep. So we haven't recorded anything of since 1978, and we've never really put things together to do this.
Only for concerts.
And perhaps we found a little bit more time to finalise it, didn't we? A lot of these songs have been written.
And we get together before concerts and get through new pieces.
Yeah.
Like the stuff we've done today.
So we'd recorded these. Were you thinking of COVID? I mean, before COVID times, we'd done, 14 out of the 20 songs that you've selected. So a lot of them were already written, and I feel it's a good time to put them out. And I think some of the songs seem to reflect many of the issues of today.
Yeah, and it's been a relief to have done something.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about Mrs. Pete? Where did those lyrics come from?
Well, they come from a poet who we've included in everything, nearly every album that we ever did way back in Topic years. He was a St Helens chap.
Born in Rainford, and he invited us to Cliff Gerard, he was called.
He was, and he invited us to a concert once, didn't he, with all his brothers?
Yeah, all his brothers sung on stage. So,
but his poetry would virtually covered everything that he ever did now. But we just liked everything that he did.
And he died in the year 2000. Cliff. He was a lovely man. He wrote for Coronation Street a little bit, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Where does the title A Lancashire Grace come from?
Harvey Kershaw. It's a poem by Harvey Kershaw, Rochdale dialect poem.
You read that, don't you?
Yeah. And we used to work with Harvey in the early days.
So he was the one that got you that was feeding you songs, like, is that what you were saying that the other day to Andy Kershaw?
He did give us one or two poems. He wrote Peterloo, and nearly said Waterloo then.
He didn't write it for himself. He just sent it in a letter to me.
Yeah.
And asked was there anything we could do with put a tune to that, and it was so good.
Was that the Peterloo?
That was Peterloo. Yeah.
And he used to come. We used to sing in the early 70s in the Oldham Hotel, and he'd come over with his wife Mary, and he'd recite, play the piano. He was a grand chap.
Yes.
The piano.
Yeah, he did. Well, because he played the organ at church over in Rochdale.
In Rochdale, yes.
Yeah, he was a good pianist and organist.
And Harry Boardman, the Lancashire singer who arranged the earlier albums with Topic, Lancashire
Sings Again.
Lancashire Sings Again.
We used to do
Deep Lancashire.
Yeah, and we did some shows with ourselves, Harry Boardman, ourselves, the Tinkers, and Harvey, and Moston Clogbrook.
Moston Millbrook
clog dancers. Yeah. We did
3 nights at the Library Theatre in
I
Manchester.
fell off the stage.
Yeah.
a little play.
Which is easy to do.
Yeah. A number of incidents.
But they were very successful and they were televised. Well,
Were they? Oh, there was the advert was
The advert,
televised on
yeah.
Granada because one of the presenters seemed to be taking the mickey a little bit, and Harry Bourman really lost his rag, didn't he?
Yeah.
With the presenter, he said, "You're not taking this seriously."
Edwin Waugh, the Waugh Society.
Yeah.
And he said, "Waff."
Yeah.
It is
Anyway,
waff.
have we answered your question, John?
Yeah. One more. So obviously you're called the Oldham Tinkers, and you play folk music, which is music like from a place. You know, in the album's called Lancashire Grace. Can you tell me what you think about the relationship between music and place is, and how that relates to you?
Well, we use Oldham as a vehicle quite a lot, and we look at other issues. For instance, in the sense that I'm thinking of this recent CD, the one Peace Be Upon You, really is about immigration, and we use as the chorus an Islamic greeting, Assalamu alaikum. So we do that. When we're using and singing about the Spanish Civil War in 10 Oldham Men, we are, I suppose, drawing attention to that the chaps who went out there had very, very strong principles, which were good principles. They thought they were good principles. I mean, they were fighting. What preluded the Second World War and Nazism.
Yeah.
So, but we're using it through Oldham. We're singing about these Oldham lads who went out there. So Oldham is a strong place in our music because it's where we grew up and we know it well. We know all the streets, half of them are knocked down, but we can remember them. So. And Larry, when he was alive, did the same. He set the trend for that in many ways.
Yeah.
He's so proud of his of living in Oldham. Although he always said if he didn't live in Oldham, he'd like to live in Wigan.
And originally, when
rugby league town,
we registered the name,
The Oldham Tinkers name.
we were trying to register the name the Tinkers, but it already existed. Somebody already had the Tinkers. So Larry
that's right. Yeah,
decided
it'd be the Oldham
we'll
Tinkers.
just put
So it was
Oldham in
specific
front of
to Oldham. So
that makes it
Do you
ours.
think that's being from that moment? That's kind of like
Yes.
directed your career in a way.
But good well done.
Yeah,
Good well
yeah.
done.
Maybe
yeah.
if you'd just been the Tinkers, you'd
Good
have
well.
a
No,
different
but-
direction.
but it
Yeah,
made us
for me,
stayed in
yeah.
on the
although
Irish
Harry
side.
Bourman who took us under his wing and we played at his club and always encouraged us to do Lancashire music.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
when I
we
was saying
didn't
there was
do
tunes.
quite a lot. We used to do kind of all different kinds of things, Irish and Scottish and so on. He had French song and so on. But he used to say, you should do more Lancashire stuff. He said, and you adjust the part because you look so harmless.
Yeah. And I suppose the children's stuff was ours really, because we just started to add those sort of things, didn't we? And they
I was gonna ask
and
you
they
about
worked.
that, yeah.
Yeah, all children's songs.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
asking about, because there's a kind of Tinkers kind of thing that is on all the albums, and how did that sort of?
Yeah, we always
and
did
also the
medleys.
children's stuff as well.
That's right, there were always, and there's one on this one, isn't there? We've got Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
So
that-
a little bit of silliness.
Who was bringing those?
Larry, I think, put a few together, didn't he?
Yeah.
But we all, we would add things, but and we worked together on those.
Yeah.
But Larry was a strong thing, and this last one, Charlie Brown. Well, things that we've collected from the past.
Yeah.
That children like, and of course, as children grow older, they remember those things,
Yeah.
don't they?
Of course, yeah.
I think we get probably criticised for it, by thinking we're a bit small-minded, but
Can't please
Anyway.
everybody.
no, that's true.
Yeah.